Nandi Senator Kiprotich Cherargei has proposed the extension of the presidential term limit to 7 years, an additional 2 years from the current 5 years term. So how is this conversation likely to pan out in the fullness of time? That is our conversation today on Siasa Brigade, your go-to point on matters, politics and governance this side of the Sahara. And I'm yours truly, Richard Mwenje. Always a pleasure to have you on board. Now to unpack this conversation is the only name in the world of political analysis this side of the Sahara, Herman Manyora. How are you, sir?
Good.
Looking stunning in a polka-dotted red tie.
Yes.
What's the occasion, though?
It's being happy.
Being happy?
Yeah.
Oh, all right, very well. Let's go straight into the conversation. And you're talking matters the proposal by Nandi Senator Cherargei, which seeks to increase the presidential term limit from 5 years to 7 years per term. From where you sit as a seasoned political analyst, you've always said that every barking dog has its owner. When it comes to such a proposal from this senator under Kenya Kwanza government, would you say that maybe there are hands behind it? There is maybe a sponsor of such a proposal?
That's how politics works. Nothing happens by chance. There are no coincidences in politics. Things are planned.
Things are planned.
Yeah, and all the barking dogs have
their owner.
Yeah, so I would not be surprised if he's not acting if he's acting on some direction.
All right, very well.
Yeah.
But then again, we've seen Kakamega Senator Boni Khalalwe refute such proposal by Cherargei and say this complete nonsense, absolute nonsense. And from where you sit as your footnote, would you say that what Cherargei is proposing is more of trying to be a sycophant and pleasing the government of the day?
Sometimes that Senator Cherargei has issued statements or made statements or talked about things that leave people concluding it's just sycophantic. But sometimes it's this kind of people that you use to test the water sometimes. So it is still possible that he's a sycophant. He's trying to appear to be good, but it's also possible that he's on some agenda, on some mission.
On some mission.
Yeah.
Very well then. In the previous time, we've seen proposals from either the government of the day or opposition getting a backlash of huge magnitude, but in the fullness of time they sail through. Case in point, say the Finance Bill of the Finance Act of 2023. When it comes to such a proposal, from the onset it seems like it will get so much backlash. But then again, would you say that it could have a chance of seeing the light of the day in the fullness of time? It is
possible. It is politics, and it depends on how it is packaged. It depends on who is pushing it. It depends on the political environment at the time it is being floated. Look at BBI. If it had come any other time, perhaps it would have gone through, but it came the wrong time because Ruto was fighting for his own survival, and therefore he had to demonize BBI. We all agree that really what everybody is talking about now is BBI, including Ruto himself and his people, but because of the timing. So it will depend on the timing. It will depend on the drivers of that motion, how the country will perceive it. But it has a chance. It can survive.
It can survive.
Look, in terms of merit, I, for one, and I think I've heard a trolley say, I, for one, will be for a 7-year term. But unlike Cherargei, I will want it to be terminal.
Terminal.
You go in, Kenyans give you 7 years to serve them. You are serving knowing there's no other seat you are looking for. There's no other election.
Beyond the 7 years.
Yes. Do your work.
Head home.
Everything you do from what you are convinced is right. Not because of the next election. That is Kenya deserves a 7-year, a 1-year term, a 7-year term. 1 term of 7 years. Not renewable.
Not renewable.
You do and go home. 7 years. You will see wonders.
Moving on swiftly.
As you look at the cabinet the president will have given you, you'll be shocked.
7 years of transformation.
Yes. Kenyans have given you 7 years. Work for them. Don't worry about an election because there's none coming your way.
Very well. Yeah. Moving on swiftly with the conversation.
14 years looks a bit too much.
It's too much. Just 1 term of 7 years.
Yes, 7 years.
Very well. But as a seasoned governance expert, do you think the conversation right now should be about which many Kenyans are asking for, that is rotational presidency, and like what we are currently seeing, a proposal by Cherargei to increase the term to 7 years? Which should be the conversation of the day right now?
Rotational is this, not Switzerland. Rotational is just talk. That's, to me, it serves no purpose. What we need to do is to rework our devolution.
Recalibrate.
Yeah, so we introduce regions, about 10, 12 regions, powerful regions, with the counties under those regions. Now, it will be very common in the future for governors to be potential presidential candidates. So you see, so it will be, and we can have an unwritten rule. It doesn't need, like in Nigeria, you know, when you are a southerner, your deputy most likely should be from north, and he should succeed you, and then choose the person from the south as deputy.
Sure.
In Zanzibar, I think it's constitutional. In Tanzania, where the president is from the mainland, the next president will come from, first vice president will come from Zanzibar, and vice versa. We can work around that, because rotational, it will be very difficult to manage.
It will be very difficult.
You have strong regions, what we used to call Majimbo, and let this be the people, the catchment areas for presidential candidates.
And that's it.
That's it.
Very well. To bring the conversation to the tail, sir, you've analyzed political careers of many firebrand politicians in this country. And my question is, for people like Cherargei who propose highly sensitive themes or subjects, what oftentimes is the reward in the fullness of time?
Mainly, usually nothing. Nothing. Let me tell you about human nature. I'm no psychologist, but I know something about human nature.
Which is?
Men detest men who go on their knees for them. In the mind of a king, the court poet is an idiot. So when somebody is a president and you think you are singing his praises, he can only tolerate you because he has to survive as president. But inside him, anytime he sees you, he wants to throw.
Not a show of loyalty?
No. The human nature, it is like love. People don't want love to love people out of pity. It's like an interview. This is about human nature. You go for an interview, you want to present yourself as so helpless, so desperate. Nobody will give you a job. It's human nature. So even as a sycophant, you have to realize the person for whom you are doing those stupid things, they can't respect you. He may not look. Let me say this. I doubt that Ruto can tolerate 10 minutes alone with Cherargei. I doubt it.
Just 10 minutes? 10
minutes. At Ruto Mekapa Cherargei. Human nature doesn't work that way. That's not how human nature works. People want people they respect, even fear. You see? So when you bend over, you praise somebody, from a utility point of view.
Utility is the word.
Yes.
Usefulness.
You are a dog, barking for him is good. But I don't think the master will invite the dog to the house. Let it bark from outside. No. You are a good dog, but even if it's raining, you'll be outside. Is that right? Human nature. I'm not talking about Ruto. I'm not talking about Cherargei. I'm not talking about Manyora. I'm talking about human nature. And once you have taken that path, it will be difficult for you to become something big. Ask Ababu Namwamba. The way he was worshipping Raila and swearing him being sworn in the name of Raila. He has not recovered from that. People see that child in you. That's the challenge some of these upcoming politicians have. If you want to see, look at Murokomen. He has had a very quick transition. Very quick transition. But it's not easy to transit from being a barking dog to a person somebody can take seriously as a leader.
He did strike.
So that's Cherargei, they must know. If where they are is terminal, but if they aspire to bigger things, he cannot even be made governor of Nandi. The Nandi cannot see a leader in him.
It is not automatic that he'll get it
nothing.
In 2027?
Nothing. He'll have to recalibrate. I know he's my friend. For the Nandis to see in him a possible leader, because a governor is a leader. An MP can be a noisemaker. A senator can be a noisemaker. But a governor is a leader. Somebody the community can look at and say we can trust ourselves in his there. People like Henry Kosgei. And this Sang were young, they were senators, they were to defend Ruto, but there is a way in which they carry some maturity around them. Cherargei will have to talk to me. I take him through the ropes. People don't like people like those by nature. Even when people, even in a classroom, when people are supposed to elect a monitor or a prefect, even in a cooperative society, people who really are very good at talking, and you know, sometimes they are called psychological leaders, some of them. Very good in firefighting, what, and they organize.
Sure.
But when the time comes to elect the chairman of the society, they look at that cool guy. Sometimes you want to cry. Because the guy is cool and they are giving, but he's useless.
And useless.
There's this guy they are seeing him as just a young boy.
True.
No, you know, so in my language is a word we use, which is ni kama kukaa kamili. Watu wakiona umeona umekaa kama kiongozi. Kama unarusharusha mdomo kama hawa kina Cherargei, nobody will sit.
You say you'll remain a dog but back from the outside.
From the outside.
Not from the king's table.
And you'll watch as other people are wanafunguliwa mlango kuingia kwa meza. People whose value should be far less than yourself, than yours. But they are valued because they carry some level of dignity, respectability. You see?
There you have it, and that point by Herman Manyora takes us to the wrap of this conversation. Talking matters, the proposal by Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei to extend the presidential term limit from 5 years to 7 years. And from Herman Manyora's optic, to him, Senator Cherargei is the classical example of that, who has embedded extreme psychophancy in his style of politics. It remains to be seen how this conversation will pan out in the fullness of time. But for now, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Richard Mwenje. Always a pleasure.